Hey, fantasy football fans, who doesn't love the excitement of picking your team? Well, get this. You can do that any week when you play in one-week fantasy football leagues at FanDuel.com. You play for real money, and winners get immediate cash payouts. Nothing beats the excitement of living out a whole season of fantasy football in just 1 week. And right now, you can get up to $200 free. For every dollar you deposit, FanDuel will match it up to $200. Click the banner now or go to FanDuel.com, click the radio microphone in the upper right corner, and use promo code BLOGTALK.
Blog Talk Radio.
What time is it?
WH Radio.
The best in the world at what we do.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are live now on WrestlingHeads Radio. This is Oscar. I'm joining here alongside with Chris. What's up, Chris?
What's going on?
What's going on? We have a special guest today, and I just want to say I'm happy to have him on. And if you were looking on Twitter, we were promoting it this whole weekend, you can say. And if you've been paying attention, you can say follow PWG the last couple of years. And if you follow Championship Wrestling in Hollywood, the name I'm going to say right now, you can be very familiar with this person. His name is Ryan Taylor. What's going on, Ryan Taylor?
Hey, how's it going tonight, guys?
What's going on, man? Like I said, I'm happy to have you on, man. Thanks for coming on. And
no,
I'm going to start off. You know what? I have a little surprise, I guess, early on the show. I'm guessing Toby is on with us. Is this Toby?
No, it's me. Sorry.
Oh, Hyper Girl. What's up, Hyper Girl?
Hello.
Hey, we have Ryan Taylor on today.
Oh, hi, Ryan Taylor.
Did they call you Hyper Girl?
Yeah, that's we call her Hyper Girl.
Okay.
You can just call me Bob.
I'll go with Hyper Girl.
All right then. Well, she's a part of us. She's another co-host of ours. So, let's start with the questions. Ryan, before we start with the questions, can you explain? Can you tell our listeners that if they're not familiar with you, can you somehow introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure thing. My name is Ryan Taylor. I've been wrestling for almost 10 years now, actually. I had my debut match March 27th, 2004 for Jesse Hernandez in the EWF. I was originally trained by Jesse Hernandez over at the School of Hard Knocks in San Bernardino, California, which, by the way, has trained a lot of notable dudes these days, if you'll ever take notice of it. And from there, I actually sought further training from T.J. Perkins and Rocky Romero, who both taught me, more about my modern style of wrestling that I perform in the ring today. And, I've been wrestling for almost 10 years, like I said. Most currently, it's mostly been for PWG and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, two of the biggest promotions out here on the West Coast.
Yeah. Okay, definitely. I'm going to start off the questions before everybody does. And before I ask you the question, I want to let our listeners know, if you guys have any questions for Ryan Taylor, you can tweet us at WrestlingHeads. You can tweet me at Sinister632. You can also even call us at 760-454-1107. All right, Ryan, my first question would be, how did you start in the business, and why did you decide to become a wrestler?
I actually remember being probably about 3 years old in Germany. My parents were dog trainers, so we did a lot of traveling at a young age. My parents were always traveling, doing competitions. So I remember being 3 years old, and my brother, we're in the hotel room, and he's got wrestling on the TV, and we're both just watching it with, a dog watching us. But that's my earliest memory of wrestling is watching it in a hotel room in Germany. And growing up as a kid, it always stuck with me. And I think Sting was my biggest influence to really draw me in to want to be a wrestler. And, he was a huge guy. I never really thought it was possible for a guy like me. Then I saw, the Hardy Boys and Jeff Hardy, how well they did, and they weren't, these giant guys. They were modern-looking guys. And that kind of inspired me to think, you know what, like, if this guy can do it, maybe I can give it a shot, and maybe I can make a go of it too. So, I'm 16 years old. I actually met Jeff Hardy for the first time when I was 16, and it just really, really inspired me. And at the time, I was actually going to go and try and find a UPW wrestling school when I turned 18 and got out of high school. But I didn't want to wait. I wanted to do it now. As soon as I met Jeff Hardy, I was just inspired and wanted to do it right away. And so I was looking around. I saw a documentary on TV called Pro Wrestling Tricks of the Trade on the Travel Channel, and highlighted around Jesse Hernandez's School of Hard Knocks. So on August 16th, 2003, I walked into the School of Hard Knocks for the first time. I had my first ever class.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting. Chris, do you have a question?
Yeah, I want to elaborate on Jesse Hernandez. It seems like every week that we have a guest, it's amazing how much talent they seem to be on our show. Last week was Candace and Peter Avalon, and it's like a who's who of names he's helped train. Is Joey Ryan, bear with me, Kazarian, Rocky Romero, Kozlov, Layla Molina, and one of my favorites, Luis Piccoli, and the list goes on and on. My question is, can you explain how much he's meant to you and how he's helped you get to where you wanted to be in the business and where you're going in the future? Him and TJ. I mean, you said also TJ Perkins helped you as well, but it just seems like Jesse Hernandez's name pops up more. I just want to know if you could explain what makes him different,
Well, what makes Jesse different, I guess, is his longevity. He's one of those guys that's, been in this thing for his whole life since he was 20 years old, and he's like 60-something now. So he's a lifer in pro wrestling and he's dedicated his whole life to it. So, a lot of guys are, they're like, when they've been in the business that long, a lot of times they're like, grizzled old vets, they call them, or they're just, the wrestling ways are, they're a little hindsighted. But Jesse's a guy that's always been about, I'm not here to, like, tell you what you have to do. I'm here to teach you what I know and about the proper ways of the business. What you choose to do after that is your doing. I'm not going to look down on you from it. He doesn't tell you have to wrestle a certain way. He just says, hey, look, here's the basics of pro wrestling, and here's the, the actual, like, steps that you need to take to become a pro wrestler, stage one. And once you become a pro wrestler stage one, he can help give you all the critiques in the world about what he thinks are still pro wrestler stage 2 and pro wrestler stage 3 is. But if you take your own advice, like I did, then he doesn't look down on you on all that for anything. Jesse actually helps to say, you know what, like, you started here and you got your basics right. And anywhere I go, the basics is what it relies on. Every promotion that's a higher name place would say, the most important thing they look for always is, how well this guy at the basics. You can find guys that can do a shooting star press over at the park. You can't find guys that have the proper footing, the proper technique, and the proper ring placement to be able to execute every spot accordingly, and that requires the basics being solid. Jesse Hernandez is a guy that promotes the basics, and that's why he's such a prominent trainer throughout all of SoCal, because he's been a guy that's just said, it's not about the moves, it's about knowing how to be a pro wrestler in the most basic fashion of form. Because if you know that, you can take that and spread it out to any modern way you want, because you'll have that basic old school knowledge of how this really, really is when it comes down to the dirt and gritty of it.
It's pretty remarkable. I mean, especially the names that he's helped along the way, especially yourself, and even it's like every time I look at the list, I'm just wowed, and I'd like to know more about him. He just seems awesome. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I don't know if Hypergirl was going to ask a question.
Hypergirl, are there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I didn't want to breathe on the phone, so I kind of muted my mic. My question for you is, it's a little bit more recent. First, are you a Kings fan?
Am I a Kings fan? Is that really a question that needs to be asked? I mean, one good story about how much of a Kings fan I am here, and this was also a great experience for me at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. The Kings are in the playoffs of the Stanley Cup Finals, okay? I walk out to my match. I think I was wrestling TJ Perkins that night. I walk out to my match, and I go in the ring, I'm wearing my King scarf, repping the Kings. And instead of the fans, booing Ryan Taylor or cheering Ryan Taylor, it's just a loud, giant chant of "Go Kings, go!" in the whole Reseda area. And that really, I was like, this is awesome. So, yeah, I'm a bit of a Kings fan.
All right, so you get props for being a Kings fan. So I think that the next match we want to see at PWG, since you're such a big Kings fan, is you versus, O'Reilly, because he's a Canucks fan, and I hate the Canucks. So you should kick his butt. We should set that up.
Well, you shouldn't hate the Canucks. I mean, they're Canadian. They'll never win a Stanley Cup anyways, so it's okay.
Go ahead, Oscar.
No, that was funny. All right, then I want to ask him about PWG. We just saw you recently this past weekend at PWG 10. You were part of a 6-person tag match, and you had Candice LeRae was one of your opponents. Do you feel comfortable wrestling against a female?
Sometimes. Candice is one of those girls that I know she can really go in the ring. And so, when it comes time to do anything it requires, I know she's always there for it. A lot of girls are always very sloppy with their, work, and when they're very sloppy with their movements. They're honestly just aren't very good wrestlers at all. But Candice is one of the very few exceptions to that rule, especially out here in the West. And so being in the ring with her is always, I always treat it very differently, and I would never throw any strikes to her because I don't actually want to ever risk anything. Her being hurt or me doing something in too hard. I'm definitely not going to throw a strike easy. So I'm never actually going to throw any strikes to her. So my interactions with her mostly just like wrestling holds, because that way I wouldn't be able to really hurt her. However, I do trust her in every aspect of the game and know that she can do a match with any guy from bell to bell and have it be a good one.
Yeah, as for me, I never hit a girl in my whole life. So, you know what? I will give you props because I don't know how do you do it, because I would not feel comfortable at all. But shout out, that's props to you, man. I don't know how you did it, man. Chris, you got a question?
Yeah, and everybody knows that Hollywood got the big national TV deal and how it's going to help them tremendously, not only make the company better, but reach bigger and more audiences that they ever could before. But the question is, do you foresee PWG ever entertaining the idea of trying to get a TV deal?
No, I don't think so. I think PWG's sole purpose is to have that underground vibe, to have that show in Reseda that is that giant, internet indie sensation, and they thrive off of that alone. Personally, they make enough money off of their DVD sales that and their ticket sales that they don't really need to branch out to do anything else. Most wrestling promotions sell their tickets for $15 most, a person, and they're lucky they can, get like a few hundred. PWG sells theirs a minimum 30, and they pack the place out still. That's a minimum of 30. So, they aren't really in the market for TV wrestling. They're in the market to just be this underground vibe of awesomeness that when you find out about it, you go there and you see this is some of the best wrestling that they have to offer in the whole United States. And the guys that are there, you'll see some of the best wrestlers in the States as well.
In a world where everything's easy accessible and like at the touch of a button, it just seems like a perfect fit to not be that. And that's the whole line, this weekend. It feels that way. That was waiting to get in, and it's just it like you said, it's a perfect fit. I would never want to see it. If they wanted it, I agree with it, but it's a perfect fit to what is not a perfect fit in the world. Everyone expects, they want to get TV. Well, maybe they don't want to. That's the only answer I've ever given. But there you go.
No, most definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got a question?
Yeah, I do. Okay. So I don't know if I'm crazy here, and I might be, but I've heard of the Fighting Taylor Boys. Can you explain to us what that's all about?
The Fighting Taylor Boys is a trio consisting of Chuck Taylor, myself and Brian Cage when Brian Cage was Brian Cage Taylor. So basically we have our little six-man tag at the 2010 Battle of Los Angeles. We were all the losers from night one, so they put us into a tag. After we won our tag match, the powers that be at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla decided to go ahead and utilize us some more together. So we maintained a little trio and called ourselves the Fightin' Taylor Boys.
Okay, you guys aren't actually related, right?
I'd like to think in the world that every Taylor is related. My far distant cousin and, loyal friend, Corey Taylor, lead singer of Slipknot, he's related, I think Dave Taylor over in Europe is related as well. I think there's Michael Jackson Taylor running around somewhere.
Okay, because the rumor, as I heard it, was that you guys were all related. But, that's why I wanted to bring that question up, because I'm like, you guys look nothing alike.
I think we do. I mean, Brian Cage, and me look pretty similar, I think. Yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah, I think you and him look like twins. Actually, I'm going to have to agree on that.
Yeah, we're all twins. I mean, we're about probably 100 pounds difference, but we're twins,
Yeah, totally. Go ahead, Chris, or...
Wait, one question to elaborate on what she asked about the Fightin' Taylor, which were awesome. What caused it? Why didn't it go longer? Why didn't it go longer angle that it did? I mean, was there an abrupt ending?
Most of this came down to booking restraints for everybody. Chuck has a lot of booking restraints out there on the East Coast, so him coming out to Gorilla wasn't always the most convenient at the time. Me and Brian have our deals in the West we had outside of Gorilla. So as far as it came down to, just everything, us being a trio, just came to everybody's schedules didn't really match up so well. So when we were there, we were all there, but, the reason it didn't last so much is just mostly due to scheduling.
Someday we'll be back.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for skipping me, Chris. All right.
Well, I want to elaborate on her question. That's all.
It's okay. It's good. Well, I want to ask him more about PWG. Yeah, like I said, you were in the match this past weekend, and it was your first time in the PWG event for like a while. So how do you feel you could say returning to PWG?
The Reseda crowd is a very distinguishable crowd, as in their responses are always, top-notch. So one of the best things about wrestling in front of Gorilla is the fact that you're going to get a reception that's going to just drive you to want to do more and be better. So it's always good to be back in Pro Wrestling Gorilla. In fact, I remember we were in the ring with Peter Avalon there, and we're in the ring, and he just looked at me and he's like, I am so happy to be back in this ring with these fans. So, they give you a bit of a push. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they bring you back some more, because I did really miss you out there. So, and when I found out you were coming back, I was excited. So I was like, man, finally. So I hope they bring you back more, like in the next couple of months. So see what happens, man.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Chris, you got a question?
Yeah, and I want to change gears here. And I've heard and I've seen so many shoot interviews and heard interviews and read interviews. I've heard and seen veterans take on a subject, and it's mostly negative. But I want to hear the next generation's point of view. And the question is, do you think the Internet has helped or hurt the industry?
Helped or hurt it? Well, I think that's probably a double-edged sword, and it's probably an answer you've heard before. Helps it as far as you can do something here in L.A., and the people in New York can see it. And they don't have to wait, 6 weeks to tape trade anymore. They can see it by putting it up on YouTube, and you just send them a link. So it helps it as far as it makes wrestling so widely known that there's just unlimited possibilities when it comes to promoting your event, promoting your wrestlers, promoting yourself as a wrestler. There's no reason you can't be out there trying to touch base with fans in Tokyo and whatnot, anymore. You can help get yourself known just through the Internet and your matches uploading them all the time. So I know a lot of guys do. I don't do that. I don't know how to upload anything at all to YouTube, but other guys that do know how to do that, they do that. So it helps out a lot, and it also helps the wrestling community of fans stay linked together and really hype up shows themselves, you know. Like, it first started with the message boards, and then it started with, you know, message boards were, like, hot everywhere for a long time. And now Twitter's kind of the open message board. And Facebook is, like, something that people use to promote their shows, like, half the time. Like, it's really helped just develop the popularity, I think, of it back up, especially after, you know, the Attitude Era died and everybody says how it's gone down a little bit. I think, you know, the use of the Internet is what keeps wrestling alive still. However, the one downside to it is the fact that there is no more secrecy. When Chris Jericho debuted on Raw, I was absolutely amazed that Chris Jericho was on Raw. I couldn't believe it. This guy's in WWE. If he does that now, everybody's going to know 2 weeks before he goes, he's already in there. He signed his contract 6 months ago. We all knew about it. Yeah. I mean, it's not a big deal. Everybody knows. Everybody knew it happened. So at that time, nobody even knew that the guy had signed a deal. That's why it was such a big deal. So that's where I think the downside comes, is that there's no secrecy. It's very hard to try and make anything these days in wrestling a secret or not expose the realism of whatever an angle might be. So that's the only downside I see.
It seems like it seems like other promotions are trying to work the Internet and try to spin them, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But you're correct on knowing them 2 weeks before they would debut. I mean, it's unfortunate we would know how much they're making. I mean, the Internet in that way definitely has hurt the business a little bit, probably tremendously. But I always like to hear a take on the younger guys than you know the veterans as well.
Yeah. But at the same time, I can also tell you that being when I was younger, like the use of the Internet allowed me to just research and study wrestling all day long. And it wasn't for the fact that the Internet, everybody uploads matches, all these great, amazing matches you can study all day long. I would have had to it would take me forever to try and study the amount of matches I studied. But because of the Internet, I was able to research, find those matches, and study them constantly and consistently, and just randomly new matches every single day. And so because of the Internet, you know, it helped the fact that wrestling is now stored on there, its history is on there, and you can access it at any time, and that helped me to improve to become a wrestler that much faster. So, another good side.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah, definitely. Hyper, you got a question?
Yeah, actually I do. There's a video of a show you did called RuPaul's Drag Race with Joey Ryan, where you guys had to train guys to dress like girls.
Drag queen, yep.
Yep. I actually saw the finished product, and I thought that they weren't that bad. Actually, I was really excited when I saw that episode. What was that experience like? Were they, in drag when you guys were training them? How did it affect you? Were you, not sure if you were going to train, girls or guys, or just how was that experience for you?
Well, it was kind of cool. As in, when they were scouting for it, basically they actually came to Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and they just, they were looking for a couple of guys to do RuPaul's Drag Race, and they ended up picking me, Joey Ryan, and Hector Canales, probably because we all have young looks and slim bodies, so they figured it would go well with their show as far as trying to have that wrestler look that would appeal to, not to be offensive, but appeal to maybe the gay side of the audience. So basically, when it came down to the show being there, I think we're probably there for about 12 hours that day, and they probably put about 2.5 minutes of that 12 hours on TV. We were filming this all day long, and it took forever. And I was amazed when we watched the finished product, and there was literally 2.5 minutes of it on TV, because it took us all day long to get that thing shot. So, overall, a very fun experience. I enjoyed it, and I would definitely do it again, just because, RuPaul's Drag Race is a very notable TV show, so why wouldn't you? Exposure in any way is what you want to get. But if it was only for 12 hours, to do 12 hours for only 2.5 minutes, we're going to have to renegotiate that part again.
That's cool. So you got 2 brownie points, 1 for liking the Kings and 2 for being on one of my favorite shows.
Very glad about that.
I'm starting to like you more and more. Maybe I'll even buy a shirt. Okay, Oscar, do you have any questions for Chris?
Well, before I ask him a question, I actually have a listener that wants me to ask Ryan Taylor this question. He has actually 2 questions. One of them was I was going to ask him this, but, well, I'll let him slide with this one. The first one, he asked me, what company do you like being a part of more, PWG, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, or AWS?
PWG, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, or AWS?
Yeah.
Well, they all 3 have their own uniqueness to them. PWG, is probably the most well-known of all of them. And so that's always good to give you, that exposure. And if you have a top-notch match there, fans will know about it. However, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood is our own hometown project that we are making and building up into quite a promotion, if I can say so. And so I have a lot of pride when it comes to that place. And AWS is kind of like my actual hometown fed EWF, where it's basically all the SoCal guys that are there for experience, trying to make it, and I'm one of the guys that's there trying to help them get the experience in every match, and also help our local promoters out, and getting their exposure and getting our own SoCal scene out here, keeping it thriving. So they each have their perks to me when it comes down to it, but I think if I had to pick my favorite fed, I don't know, actually. It's kind of a tough one. I'm always very diverse with my choosings. I don't think I can pick a favorite one. I always see the grass green on every side of the road, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm going to ask you his other question, but I was going to ask you the same thing, but I wanted to mention that you had you were part of a WWE match in a handicap match. You teamed up with Chaos against Valerie Kosloff a few years ago. You want to know how's your experience? Well, little experience you had with the WWE. Like, can you explain your experience in the WWE?
My experience with WWE with what exactly?
Like, you mean with the crowd, and it's a different crowd, different vibe than you're regularly used to?
Oh, what do you mean with Vladimir Kozlov? I think
Vladimir Kozlov, yeah.
I think you're talking about Kozlov. Yeah. So basically with that story there, I can tell you, another very cool experience. Walk out to the ring during commercial, and it's at Staples Center. So keep in mind, I remember, going to see Raw at Staples Center as I was a kid, and I remember seeing WrestleMania 21 at Staples Center, and I was just always amazed, like, Staples Center, you go to Staples Center, you go to see Raw. You go to Staples Center to watch WWE. So the fact that I was actually wrestling for them in that ring, in that building, meant a lot to me. And I remember sitting in the ring during the commercial break and looking around at the crowd, and I told Joey Chaos, who was also in the ring at the time, just how, amazing it was to be able to have a chance to take this in right now before the lights came on and we had to get in TV mode. And that was a real inspiring experience to keep striving for. I mean, that match itself, I received a lot of praise, actually, from the agents backstage over that match and over my execution of, how I made Kozlov look. So that actually was a really, really great experience for me at WWE.
Yeah, I was actually at that show, I remembered. I remember at the time when it was during the Lakers and Nuggets thing going on, and Vince McMahon had to make Raw and SmackDown move to Staples Center because they had they had problems over there in Denver. I remember all that, and I remember buying the ticket for $20 for a WWE show, which was amazing. And yeah, I was at that show. I remember I recognized Chaos at that time, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's Chaos," because I used to follow him back in XPW. And then
okay.
I remember seeing you. Like, I barely get to start hearing about you at the time, and then it was cool to see like two guys I'm familiar with going against a WWE superstar. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see you guys there in person.
Yeah,
and no, go ahead.
Also, yeah, at the time I had yet to really, break out, so to say. You're saying you just started seeing me a little bit. Like, I had yet to really break out mainstream, at least, around the West. I was just on, the cusp of it, so to say. I was, right after that, I went to Japan for 3 months, and after that I came back, and I started working pro wrestling Gorilla. So that's when I started really, right after that match is when I really started being, as a breakout star and all over.
Yeah. Well, this is my question now. For that match with Claude, were you nervous? Because it was a bigger crowd. So you were getting nervous somehow.
Was I nervous with Caldwell?
No. I get to wrestle in the WWE on TV, and were you nervous at all?
Oh, wrestling there. Well, I mean, the nerves are always going to be. Anytime you ever wrestle, the nerves are always going to be there, because this is it's live entertainment, so to say. So no matter what you do, there's no restart button on it. You can't pause the action and try it again. Whatever you do, however you execute, that's what you're stuck with on footage and in front of everybody. So there's always going to be nerves whenever you do any kind of wrestling, whether it be in WWE, whether it be for Jesse Hernandez at the EWF. Always going to be nerves. However, I've learned to have confidence in my abilities and just myself, and I know that while I may be nervous, I can rely on my natural instincts in the ring to always carry me through them at my weakest points, and I will be okay. So my nerves, maybe one time when I did my Big Show match in Las Vegas, but that's only because I had Freddie Prinze Jr. and Vince McMahon watching the monitors and telling me when I was going out. And that was kind of nerve-wracking, I think, just because they were pretty much two of the biggest guys in that company. Well, Vince still is, but Freddie was pretty high up there, too, at the time. So, other than that, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a really fun experience there. Well, I want to say to our listeners, if you guys have a question for Ryan Taylor, just tweet us at WrestlingHeads, or you can call us at 760-454-1107. Josh, I want to thank you for sending your questions. If you have any more questions, just hit me up. And thanks for listening. Chris, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. I actually just changed my question. I just thought of one, and I've been watching you for a while, and I really can't put my finger on your wrestling style. And it seems to me, anyways, that you have many, and you're just not limited to one specific style. My question is that by design, or is that premeditated?
That's kind of by design, in a sense that where I go, I am catering to what we do. When I go to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, I'm aware of what the fans are more interested in. And when I go to wrestle for EWF, I'm aware of, what the fans there are more interested in, as it be the intensity in my spot work, or will it be my entertainment and charisma. So I can also change it up from either being a mat wrestler or being, a higher volume striker, or even having a few offensive moves that be a little more innovative. I like to be more versatile. I like to peg myself to one set thing. I don't like to limit myself. I like to mostly just learn everything that I can and apply it all as need be when I feel it's time. I feel like that's what makes me a valuable, option in the locker room, as opposed to a guy that works only one style every promotion he goes to. I'm somebody who's very versatile and can work pretty much any style with any guy and be able to, stand toe-to-toe for him with that style.
Sort of like it's basically like an ultimate professional. Learn all crafts.
Try to learn all crafts. I wouldn't say I'm an ultimate professional, but I definitely try to learn everything about this craft of pro wrestling.
Yeah, that was my take on it. It's awesome to see that, though. Go ahead, Hyper. Is she here?
Hyper, are you there? Hyper, are you there?
Yeah, I'm mute again. Sorry, I'm mute, and then my screen goes black, and then I have to unmute my phone. I apologize. My question is a little bit more about PWG. I know that the wrestling in any other promotion, well, with the exception of a few, PWG involves a lot of crowd interaction, more so than any other promotion that I've been to. How do you, you basically land on spam sometimes, it gets crazy in there. How do you deal with that as a wrestler? Do you, what goes through your mind when you have to jump off and there's a fan in the way that won't get out of the way, or how do you prepare for something like that?
I jump. The fan doesn't move, I jump. It's very simple. They understand the name of the game. And at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, most especially, they understand the name of the game. They know when a wrestler gets, shit canned to the outside, that there's likely going to be somebody following up after him. And so you'll see fans immediately start getting out of their chairs. If somebody doesn't move, well, it's probably their first show and they'll move next time. So it's usually not an issue when it comes to that. But I'm also very cautious not to actually ever injure any fans. Standing on above and beyond to catching guys or doing my own dives to ensure that nobody really gets injured. But at the same time, I've never really done something that wouldn't move. They always move.
All right, so one of the guys that hosts the radio show, actually almost every time he was PWG, he's trying to pick up the wrestlers and throw them back on the ring for some reason. How do you feel about a fan like that? That gets a little bit too involved. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I've never really experienced any fans like that. But most definitely, fan interaction to wrestlers. Some of it's, okay, as long as it's all in good name of good fun. Other times you can tell when it crosses the line. If a fan tries to pick up a wrestler and put him in the ring, that's getting too physical, he's just patting him on the back, come on, get up, buddy. That's him being a fan. Why wouldn't he? But things like that, of course they get too involved. And you always hear the general stories of wrestlers about how you got to protect the business, so to say, when fans get too involved. But those cases come few and far between, really.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Just get out of the way.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, go ahead, Oscar.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to ask him a question that's similar, Chris came up about PWG, if ever do a TV deal, whatever. But I just thought maybe this would be a good idea for PWG. Do you think PWG should have maybe its own pay-per-view, kind of like how Ring of Honor had it?
As far as any of that goes, that's I really think anything like that is kind of out of their mindset. I think their niche is their DVD sales, and they want to keep everything they have limited to that, because that's going to make them the most money, I think. So I think they'll, as far as TV things go, as far as IPTV goes, they're mostly interested in just the DVD sales and everything, because they do very well in that. And that's where a big margin of their game comes from. If you put everything on iPay-per-view, then you don't get DVD sales, to every single fan. You get 5 fans buying one, and then it's good to go. So it's kind of a smart game when you think about it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're just talking about it here on the show a few months ago about if it's possible PWG would do an iPay-per-view. But we just want to hear from you, whereas if that would be a good idea. But if you're saying that they'll do DVD sales, then I could understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, you got a question?
Yeah, and last week, Peter Avalon touched upon this subject, and it's Championship Hollywood. How influential was Percy to the roster behind the scenes in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood before his passing?
Well, everybody grew up watching, Taker and Percy, Taker and Paul Bear. There's not a person who didn't grow up watching them if they're a wrestling fan. So with his addition to our roster, it most definitely gave us a very strong name backing our promotion. One of the best managers of all time in Percy Pringle. So having him there was such a big influence in the fact that we knew we had a professional level, game to be able to compete with anybody, because you have guys like Percy Pringle as one of our strong stables there. So when it came time, for him to be in the ring and to be on TV, we felt that it was basically the best thing for us was always to just try and accentuate that as a positive in the best way we can. When it came time for him to be in the back, there was always guys asking him left to right on the critiques, asking him, hey, did you watch my match? Do you have any advice about this? And he would give it, and then he'd always go off on a story about, his days back in, the WWE way back in the 90s, and, relate the advice he's giving to a previous experience that he's had. So it's always cool to get not only the advice, but also get the experience of himself that he had, at the higher volume level there, to see they're going, the exact same scenario, just a different company, and you can see how well it relates and how well it translates, and you just know that, hey, it's a critique, and I need to do better at it, but it's not, you're the only one. Here's previous experiences from biggest stars doing the exact same thing. And a guy like him, just giving you a reassurance and, just giving you praise, it always means the world. I remember after my match with Sean Rickers, when we did our last man standing match, Percy Pringle could not stop praising either of us for the longest time over that match. And that right there just meant everything to me. This guy, is Paul Bear, just how enthralled he was by the match that me and Sean Rickers just put on. And that sent everything to me, like, this is just the best feeling in the world, a guy like that.
Yeah, I just couldn't imagine being in the presence of listening to some of his stories and be able to hear it every night, or every taping. I couldn't even fathom that. I mean, he was I've actually met him a few times. He was a very approachable guy. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the man. All right, Hyperco.
Okay, this question I have to ask for one of our other co-hosts because we're keeping a tally. You have to make a choice: Ultimate Warrior or Hulk Hogan.
Warrior.
Really, man? You just tied it back up. Hogan was winning.
I pick Warrior. In fact, when I watched WrestleMania, whatever it was, when Warrior and Hogan wrestled, my brother picked Hogan, I picked Warrior. And, well, needless to say, we know who won, so.
All right, okay, we'll give you that one. Okay, go ahead, Oscar.
Yeah, well, just to let our listeners know, today WWE announced Hulk Hogan is going to be in the WWE 2K14 game, and the Warrior will be there as well, so we'll explain more about it a little later in the show. I wanted to ask him about Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. It did move location to Port Wainiki, if I got it right.
Wainimi.
Did I get it right, Brian? Wainimi. Okay,
Port
Wainimi. Yeah. Before the show, would you actually worry that will fans even show up because it moved? It's like an hour and a half north from LA. So I was like, were you actually worried that people would not want to make the drive there, or were you like
Buddy,
getting
I was worried
concerned?
I was going to make the drive there. No.
I mean, were you? No, but the thing I was going to ask you, were you?
Good.
No, I was going to ask you, were you actually concerned, or anybody in that roster was concerned about if anybody want to make the drive to all the way over there?
Well, it is, as you know, a very far drive, and it's out of the way, and basically it kind of uprooted our fan base that we had built, out there in the L.A., Hollywood area, and, it's kind of moved all a whole hour and a half further. And so you got to kind of wonder in the fact that we all have this momentum building, we all have these storylines building, we all have this drama we're telling, and we're about ready to uproot all of it and expect all the fans to move. And if they don't move, then all the storylines we've been building, all the drama we've been building goes flat. Because the new fans, we may get, we had a lot of new fans there at the show from the area. However, they don't know the story yet. They don't know the characters yet. So they aren't quite sure as how to react to it as we, the fans that back in Glendale Studios, how they knew how to react to every single thing. They knew the stories, they knew the vibes, they knew the characters. These fans, a lot of new fans that were there because of the distance, there was a lot of fans that stayed the same, a lot of them that did travel, but there was also a lot of new ones. And because of that, it's kind of like we have to retell them the story in the ring of what it is we are and who we are and what we bring to the table, each individual person, so that they understand, so that we can get the same reactions out of them that we were getting from the amazing crowds we had back at the Glendale Studios.
Yeah, definitely. I was telling Peter Avalon this last week that I think you guys should try to do a show somewhere in the South Bay area, like in the. I know this place in LAX, this hotel. It's like a big ballroom. It's similar to the place you guys had in Converse. So I mean, if you guys like to move around, maybe you could try the South Bay for once. So like LAX area. So
Dave Marquez, if you're listening.
Yeah, Dave Marquez, you're listening, please make it happen. Yeah. All right, Chris, you got a question?
Dave Marquez is awesome. Yes. You said I was elaborating what you said earlier. You were 3 years old when you first saw professional wrestling, and my question is, do you recall what promotions you watched, not at age 3, but growing up? Like, what was your favorite classic promotions growing up that got you, got the juices flowing to be in the business?
Well, I actually didn't really watch anything outside of WWF for the longest time. WCW, me and my brother started watching WCW only because it said, like, this Saturday night you're going to have Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair. And we didn't know who Ric Flair was. We thought it was like some guy that was kind of wearing like a leotard with like flames all over it. Yep. So when we saw Ric Flair, we just thought, like, who is this Hulk Hogan number 2? Who is this guy? Like, then we just started watching WCW a little bit, but it still didn't click with us as yet. We kind of stuck to our WWF. We were little kids. That's all we really cared about. I never even watched the independent scene at all prior to getting into wrestling. I had no knowledge of any of the independent scene. I knew that there was an independent scene. I knew that there was wrestling in Japan, there was wrestling in Mexico and Europe and around the world. I just never really seen any of it. And I had no idea the extent of, like, what was the hierarchies and what was, what it really was like and what it looked like even. So when I got into wrestling, I was essentially a kid who grew up watching WWE and WCW, only TV wrestling, and had no idea about the outside world of what wrestling is on the other levels that are way underneath all that you're going to be stuck in for the longest time. So it was kind of a, reality drift to me for all of that once I realized what wrestling really was outside of it. And basically that, the character traits and the massive builds didn't exactly happen overnight. That there was a lot of guys that were all working towards this goal, and it was a long process of getting to all of that.
Yeah. Now, you said earlier that you like to research on the Internet of professional wrestling. I mean, since getting into business and growing, basically up in business for 10 years, I mean, has there been like a classic promotion that you've come across, like in the past, like if you got a DVD by someone that you were like, wow, this is, that you'd never seen before? I mean, like an old NWA or stuff like that. I don't know if that stuff ever influenced you, or it's always.
I've always been big on like older British wrestling.
Yeah. Like
the old William Regal, Fit Finley stuff. Ones with Dave Taylor on them, and Robbie Brookside. I've always been a big fan of those ones. Like, whenever you find tapes of that or, videos of that online, because you always see, the unique style of what it was, and just, throughout the match and these unique holds they're placing in. Well, we talked before earlier how I said that my style is so diverse. When it comes down to it, my favorite thing to do is wrestle. Like, it's always been about the wrestling in my mind, and it's been about just the actual mat work. That's my favorite aspect of it. And that's why I love watching the European, old World One, whatever it's called, British wrestling sports. So
World One sport.
Yeah. So that's really been basically my favorite of all the ones I've come across, I guess you'd say. Just because the uniqueness you can see that's not displayed so often. That's something you can drive off of to make something very unique in the ring.
that stuff is stiff. And hey, wrestling's on the marquee. That's what it's all about. So once again, I agree with you 100%.
All right.
Good.
So, now that you talked about old wrestling, as a fan of wrestling, what do you personally watch, or what promotion are you really into that you would recommend to somebody, and why?
Say that again?
Like, as a wrestler, is there any promotion that you like, maybe like here or maybe like in Japan, that you watch as a fan?
Oh, wrestlers I like that. Perhaps me, I model myself like. Okay. Well, I guess the biggest inspiration at first, since I first started watching wrestling, was Sting. Sting was always my first big inspiration. And, as like a kid growing up. But when I got into wrestling, I think it probably became, and Bret Hart. Sting and Bret Hart were my two biggest, heroes of wrestling. When I got into it, I think it was more the Ultimo Dragon became my favorite guy to study, because he's a guy that I can, display his style in the ring, because being a lighter guy, you have to have a much more entertaining style. And I realized that once I started getting into wrestling, and I also knew I can't do the flips I do on my trampoline in the ring, otherwise I would probably kill myself. So I had to come up with another way to be entertaining. Ultimo Dragon's the same way. His mat work, his strikes, everything about him, he's an entertaining wrestler. So that's why he was one of the guys I first clinged to and started watching. And I would also talk about, the wrestling style of wrestling. Bryan Danielson was, the other big one in my mind. When I started watching him, and just getting all the ideas in the world I could from him, because he's a guy, it's in America, in the States here, displaying that, catch as catch can style, the British Lustra that you're seeing over there, and you don't see in every wrestler. That he's the guy that's out here doing it, as he's the supposedly number one, guy in America doing that. So it was always a thrill to watch him and see how the best wrestler in America would go out there and perform it. But then when I wrestled with T.J. Perkins in the ring, I would realize T.J. Perkins is just as good of a wrestler as Bryan Danielson is. And everything I'm going to learn from that guy, I can learn from T.J. And in fact, that held to be true. I mean, you can ask Bryan Danielson himself about T.J. Perkins. He'll tell you how amazing he is in the ring, and how he's just as good of a wrestler.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's right. Bryan Danielson's Bryan Danielson's a badass. I'll tell you that right now.
So is TJ.
TJ too. Yeah. For our listeners, we have a little bit of time left for Ryan Taylor, so you guys have a little bit of time. So you guys, if you guys have a question for Ryan Taylor, you better do it now. Tweet us at WrestlingHeads or call us at 760-454-1107. My next question is going to be related about AWS. It's two questions that relate to AWS. August 24th, you're booked in this event. You're going to go against Ricky Mandel, which he's pretty much today's Rick Rude. Well, first question is that what you think about, what's your thoughts of Ricky Mandel?
I've actually never really worked singles matches with Ricky Mandel before. I've known the guy for a long time. We've just never actually worked singles against each other. So we've always been compared, because when I had my long hair, we were both two guys, with young looks, long hairs, and clean bodies. So everybody compared us to each other. Now I have short hair, so you can tell us apart and whatnot. But most definitely, I'm looking forward to it. The simple fact that I've known Mandel for so long, and I've never actually been able to step in the ring with him. So anytime I step in the ring first time with a friend of mine, it's always an experience I'm going to enjoy.
Yeah. Which this AWS show on the 24th, which I'm planning to attend. In your own words, what can you tell our listeners who've never been in an AWS show? What can you explain to listeners why should they go? I'm stuttering. Sorry. Why should they go to an AWS show?
Well, why wouldn't you go to an AWS show? You want to see wrestling. You want to see, hometown talent that is, at its finest there. AWS and EWF, the two SoCal promotions that I really work for, I would say by far have some of the best up-and-comers that you're going to see around this area. So supporting either one of those two promotions, I would highly suggest it. The amount of students that they have, just the level of their level of readiness when it comes to being ready to be on the cusp of breaking out is just, it's amazing when I see it myself. And I'm there every time trying to help each and every one of them as best as I can in my own ways, the best of my ability, to be able to get to that next level. And both EWF and AWS are promotions that anybody should support if they're ready to see and they want to see guys that are going to be on the next level of breaking out.
Yeah, definitely. And they're really good shows. So, and I will be there on the 24th, and I will see you there. Chris, you got a question?
Yeah, real quick. I know you're mostly on the West Coast. That I see. Do you have any plans on your schedule or aspirations to have any to work on the East Coast at all in the future, or in this year, or anything like that?
I would love to. I mean, I've talked to promoters from multiple promotions, out that way before. They've always hit me up. However, it always comes down to, the money and the flight and everything. And I've always been a guy that's very prideful wrestler at heart. And I don't really travel anywhere that is not a comp travel, so to say. So the traveling that I do, is because, on the promoter's dime. And, when it comes to the East Coast stuff, it's always been the case is that if you guys really want to bring me out there, you'll have to bring me out there. And I would love to go to the East Coast. I would love to go there anytime. I would love to go out there and, see the scene out that way for once. However, it always comes down to, the promoters and, their pockets.
Yeah, because when you stand in line out here, I mean, it's different than out there. I mean, we talk about you guys on the West Coast. When are they coming? When are they coming? And you know what? I'm asking all of you because we're asking. So
that's awesome. Keep it up. And thank you for that.
Yep.
Okay, Hypergirl, before you ask your question, we have a listener that's calling from the 562 area. 562 area, you're on WrestlingHeads Radio. Who's speaking?
Hi, how you going? My name is Ed, and very happy to speak to you, Ryan Taylor.
Hi, how's it going, Ed?
How's it going, Ed? Do you have a question for Ryan Taylor?
Yeah, actually, I mean, I've got a multiple, kind of a two-part question, I guess. And the first part of my question is, as far as training goes, training guys, young up-and-coming guys, how important do you think that is in the business today, and how seriously do you think that the young guys take it? Because especially out here on the West Coast, there are so many feds to work, and there's a lot of spots to be filled. And I'm wondering if you think that with so many wrestlers, that maybe the quality of wrestling is hurt a little bit. And I'm also curious, kind of piggybacking on the last question about going to East, how about going back to the Far East? I'd like to see you go back to Japan.
Absolutely. Well, those are two very nice questions there, Ed.
Thank you.
To touch up on, I guess, the first one, I'd say, yeah, I do see a lot of guys that don't teach the quality of wrestling as much anymore. They mostly teach the pro wrestling aspect of it, but not the actual quality and the technique of wrestling, which is where, coming out there is trying to help these up-and-comers, I know guys like myself, Scorpio Sky, TJ Perkins, guys from behind the scene, even like Mr. Excitement. They're always out there trying to teach the guys that are, up-and-coming how to really be actual wrestlers and how to be wrestlers that execute their, moves precisely. And it's a very, very strong aspect that, that it basically is the strength and core of what wrestling is today. As I was saying from Jesse Hernandez, teaching the fundamentals of what everything is about, saying, teaching the technique and, the pure execution of the simplest factors of wrestling, the guys like that, trying to help out young talent in any way we can to be able to get that next level, that's the only way we're going to be able to do it.
Sure.
And for that second question, Taka Michinoku. You know, I know you're listening, Taka. You always listen to these things, I'm sure. So, Taka Michinoku, you know, I'd love to come out there again for you sometime. Actually, I was talking to Asahi Shiori, who is one of the tag champions for K-Dojo not so long ago, about trying to go back out there to Kaientai. So 2014 might hold something in the mix, actually. We'll see what happens.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, guys.
All right. Thank you, Ed, for calling in. You can call in any time in the future show.
Thank you.
Like I said, thanks again for calling in. All right. We're going to put you on mute, all right?
Fantastic.
All right. Take care, Ed.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, guys. We're gonna have we're all gonna have one more question for Ryan Taylor. If you guys have anything else, you better say it right now. So, Chris, you got one more question?
Yeah, real quick. I mean, you obviously have interests overseas. I mean, not only in Europe and Japan. I mean, I know where I know I would be all over. You know, if you're going to Japan and stuff like that. I mean, because that's. I think you would fit in there as well. You said you're more of like a hybrid. You know, those all the tools of the trade. I mean, I could see. I don't know. I'd be one of the people watching in Japan, so I'd be looking forward to that. That's all I can say. So next year, G1 Climax 2014. So maybe that will happen.
Yeah.
Well, what I was
Hyper, you have a final question for him? Hello, Hyper.
Yeah, sorry. No, actually, I don't. I think we pretty much covered everything I wanted to ask. I don't know if there's anything anybody else can think of.
All right. Well, I have one more question for him. All right, because for him being an old school fan, this is what I usually ask our guests every time. So I'm gonna ask you this now. Let's just say there's a time machine. There's actually a time machine. All right. If you can go back in time and you can go out and wrestle any opponent of your choosing, who would that be and why?
In his prime?
Doesn't matter any time. Doesn't matter what time. It could be in the 80s, 90s, 5 years ago, in the 60s. Anybody.
It probably has to be either, I guess I'm going to have to go with three options on this one, okay? Whatever three I get, I'd be happy with. One would be Bret Hart, because he's Bret Hart, and, well, Bret Hart or Sting, one of those two, I guess, because, you know, growing up, those were the guys I idolized. Number two, being Satoru Sayama, who's the original Tiger Mask, simply because he is that as being the revolutionizing, you know, junior of pro wrestling, and to be able to wrestle him in the ring would be, you know, one for the ages. Or Ultimo Dragon, because Ultimo Dragon is one guy that actually moderned my own style after quite a bit, and it inspired me to really, you know, develop the way I have. So to be able to wrestle him, even be now or 10 years ago or 20 years ago, whatever it may be, that would be something I would really enjoy.
Well, you know what? I would love to see you and Bret Hart get it on. I mean, hey, you should be happy what I did yesterday. That's what I'm going to explain to my listeners that I did this in front of Ryan Taylor's face. I had a Bret Hart shirt on at yesterday's tapings of Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and I bought his shirt, and then you know what I did? I took off my shirt, and I was like, man, screw Bret Hart. I'm putting Ryan Taylor's shirt on. That's what I did yesterday. This is a
true story.
Yeah, it is a true story. It is a true story. I just want to let Chris and Hyper know that's what I did yesterday. I took off my Bret Hart shirt off just to put on a Ryan Taylor shirt.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, but like I said, Ryan, I like to see you and Bret Hart will have a good ass match. I mean, especially if you went back in the early '90s when Bret Hart was going after the Intercontinental title. I mean, that would have been an awesome match.
Yeah, you know, could have, should have, would have. I was born 30 years earlier.
Yeah. All right, then, Ryan, we're going to have to let you go. You have anything to say before we let you go?
Thanks for listening to those who did. Follow me on Twitter, @RyanTaylors. And find my Facebook page somehow. I forget the URL address for it, but go ahead and find it somehow. And also, as always, support indie wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. Support indie wrestling. All right, Ryan Taylor, glad you were in the show with us. Glad to spend some time with you, man. Hope you can come back in the future.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, take care, Ryan Taylor.
Have a good night.
You too. All right, that was Ryan Taylor, everybody. Well, what a nice man he was, man.
and we're just rolling along, man, with the guests, man.
yeah, we're rolling. This is what we're doing. We're working on getting guests for our listeners. We're doing the best as we can to get anybody. I mean anybody. So that's the best we could do. We're gonna have to talk about Raw, but before that, let's go on a commercial break.
Four Corners Radio is the home for the best professional wrestling and independent wrestling. Discussions and coverage. Billy, Ant, Martin, and Sam bring you three of the best podcasts every week. The Four Corners Raw Roundtable, the Indy Project, and the Saturday Freestyle. Along with the podcast, FourCornersWrestling.com is designed with all wrestling fans in mind. Feature articles, videos, the weekly shows, and much more. Four Corners and WrestlingHeads are teaming up to bring you wrestling's next revolution. Are you ready?
Yeah, we definitely are ready. That was Skits.
We are ready.
Yeah, we are ready. Yeah, that was Skits. Wish we could join us, but he's at the Dodger game right now. All right, you ready to talk about some WWE?
Oh, yeah.
What do you guys think today's episode?
I did not watch the show. Because I just got out of work.
All right, wait,
Chris,
first of all, we had a great weekend this week. I want to thank you guys. We had a great weekend this week. I want to start there.
Yeah,
Raw, go ahead.
Yeah, we did have a good weekend. Let me ask this to Chris. Chris, what do you thought of tonight's episode of Raw?
From the beginning? The beginning segment or the whole thing?
The whole thing. What you thought of today's Raw?
It's this proverbial, it has its moments and then it's got its drag. I mean, I was a full believer that 3 hours. I mean, I'm like, hell no, don't ever go down to 2 hours. Now I'm starting to wonder. But my biggest thing that I was pumped up about, it was obvious, I was tweeting the shit out of it, was they're finally making the Shield believable and they're letting them do promos the way it should be. I mean, that promo by Dean Ambrose, there wasn't a cue card in sight. And I thought the Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan Cena promo was pretty good too. It was more about promos.
Yeah,
tonight.
Yeah, that promo was awesome. That Daniel Bryan and Cena. When he was in the mic, I felt him. Like I felt that Daniel Bryan. I watched him so many years during Ring of Honor, PWG, wherever he was at, and then now he's in the WWE. And he's getting a shot for the title. I mean, I felt what he was saying. He was telling Cena, he's a parody. That's basically what he was. He is a parody. I mean,
but I think Cena at the same time was proving his point just a little bit too. I mean, you know what I mean? He had a good counter. They're working good together. I mean,
yes, they are.
I don't know.
I honestly, I gotta say, I cannot wait for Sunday. I will be there at SummerSlam, and and I'm expecting big things out of those two this Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the one thing, like you said, the passion of Daniel Bryan's coming across on television, and you can see it's real. And what's good about this is that behind the scenes there's admiration from one another. Daniel Bryan respects him. John Cena respects him. And it's not because of Total Divas, it's because they respect each other. And I think they're going to bust their ass for one another, and it's going to be a good match. People can knock Cena all he wants. He's not going to get tired. He's going to go with him. So it's going to be something. Look who's Daniel Bryan's worked with. It's going to be. I'm going to watch.
Yeah, well, I'm actually going to attend the show. Hypergirl, do you feel bad that you're not actually going to go to SummerSlam? Because this SummerSlam actually looks pretty good.
No, not really.
Not really?
Not really. I do feel bad, though, that I won't get to go to Access either. Because I was looking forward to, like, meeting a couple of the superstars. But,
yeah.
I mean, I think it's really hard, like, anytime you go to, like, a show that's, like, a big show, it's really hard to really, I feel like I'm very spoiled because I have PWG in our backyard. And, you know, I think the atmosphere is so much more different when you go to, like, you know, and you can walk up to, you know, Ryan Taylor and buy his shirt and he'll shake your hand and sit there and he'll talk to you. This is going to, like, a big event like SummerSlam because it almost feels like you're in a factory line, like next. But, of course, you know, I want to meet the talent, you know, get a picture taken with a couple of the superstars. But, I mean, other than that, I don't, you know, especially coming down from 10, there's no way that the wrestling, as good as it is, you know, is going to live up to what we just saw this weekend.
Yeah, true. We'll get to 10 a little bit later, but we still got to talk about Raw.
Who is going? Is it just you, Toby, and Skits, or who else is going?
No, Toby's not going to SummerSlam. It's just going to be me and Skits.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Skits are actually going together, so. And we're sitting next to each other, so. All right. I want to talk about the mixed tag match, Chris, because you're the one that watched Raw. There was a mixed tag match with Big E Langston and AJ against the Great Khali and Natalya. My question is that in the ending of the match, Natalya had the sharpshooter at AJ. AJ taps out, but the referee's back was turned. Natalya let go, and then I don't know what the hell she was doing. Like she looked all aggressive, and he got in the sharpshooter again. AJ ended up tapping again. This time the referee saw her tapping and turned around and you know, rang the bell. My question to you, was that a botch right there?
It seemed like something was not right. I mean,
yeah,
something was going on. I don't know, but it just seems like they're giving Natalya a little bone here, and I don't know. It was kind of weird. I don't even know where they're going with this. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's quite puzzling.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was just staring at AJ's legs. I don't know. It just, like you said, it was just. What's crazy is probably me and you were the only two noticed there was a problem. You know what I mean? I don't even know if anyone else even noticed, because it's just confusing. Just confusing to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it leading up? Is it leading up to something in SummerSlam? I mean, do they have something going on?
No. But on SmackDown last week, they announced that it was going to be I just said the damn match, a mixed tag match between Dolph Ziggler and Kalen against AJ and Big E Langston.
Yeah, I know that. I know that. I just didn't understand. I didn't understand what tonight. I didn't understand what tonight was all about. It was just thrown together, or
I guess they just did it for the hell with it. But speaking about Natalya, backstage, she was backstage with one of the Bellas. I guess Natalya challenged Brie Bella for a match at SummerSlam. And I guess she accepted, but she said she was going to bring Nikki and Eva Marie. And then Natalya says that's fine. So she's going to bring the Funkadactyls. Always call them the Fuckadactyls. The Funkadactyls.
At least we know how you feel about it. But you know, I noticed they did this. I noticed they did the I slap you back, you slap me crap. I noticed that. I didn't understand the one match tonight. That was it. But
well, I think the reason why they're doing that is because they're really pushing Total Divas. Like I think Daniel
I agree with
Bryan
Hyper there.
Yeah, that's absolutely it.
It's Total Divas. I think the whole SummerSlam is centered around Total Divas. Even the poster for SummerSlam, the Bella Twins, are they even on the card?
How about this? I have a question for her. Do you think if Total Divas bombed, do you think there would be 2 Divas matches on the card?
You know what? I think so. I don't know. It's just kind of, I don't know. I mean, but that show is pretty entertaining. I'm just going to say that much. I do enjoy watching it.
It's nice that they're throwing Natalya a bone here. I mean, no pun intended. I'm saying it's nice that they're letting her get something here, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that she deserves it just because of her legacy, but not only that, because she's worked hard for it.
I mean, she was in Independence for years.
Yeah. So I think I think more for her than anybody else deserves it, you know? Like, I'm like, you know, looking at the Bell twins and stuff, and they're really pretty girls, but, like, I don't know, like, watching them on the show, I personally don't, they're like, whatever, you know? So I think that we might see a surprise, like, fight with her during SummerSlam, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm kind of surprised that they're actually going with 2 matches that involves women because, like I said, there's a mixed tag match going on in SummerSlam, and now it's going to be a Brie Bella versus Natalya match at SummerSlam. Maybe it's because of the Total Divas, but hey, I'm happy to say, hey, I'm not sexist here, but the women deserve to be more appreciated. They got to be more involved in Raw, so go to Triple H on that. Over the weekend, what was I going to say?
Yeah, I have a surprise for you guys. Toby's here.
Yeah. Yay, Toby!
Clap! Yay!
Yo, what's up? What are you guys talking about?
You missed out on Ryan Taylor, man.
Oh, that's okay. I'll see him at the next PWG show.
Yeah, we're talking about Raw right now. Did you get I'm stuttering. Did you check out Raw today or no?
No, I haven't watched it yet. I've been busy.
Yeah, well, they announced the match on Raw. It's going to be Brie Bella against Natalya, but Brie Bella's going to have the new chick, Eva Marie, and Nikki Bella on her corner, which Natalya's going to have the Funkadactyls in her corner. So that match was added for SummerSlam this Sunday. And I was going to talk about Yeah. Well, me and Chris will be there. Well, I was going to talk about the Ring of Fire match.
I'll take a picture.
Yeah, we want to see more boobies. Take the booby pops out, make a picture.
Cans.
Oh, my God. Bam, I got to do it quick then. Bam. You might see it on pay-per-view. It is on pay-per-view.
You guys talked about PWG yet? How awesome it was?
No, we'll get there later. We got to talk about Raw, though, first.
Come on, man. Did you see the awesome picture Chris posted? That was awesome, dude, by the way. The awesome picture that Chris tweeted of me and Chucky T.
Oh, yeah.
That was from Devin. Devin Chen took that photo, so.
Oh, yeah, he did.
But that guy takes, Jesus. I was lucky to talk to that guy for a while, but he takes great pictures, man.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I liked it a lot. I guess my girlfriend hasn't seen it yet, so she's looking it up right now. But
yeah,
I was hoping they would take one of the Young Bucks landing on me.
Oh, man, that would have been so funny when the Young Bucks land on you.
It'll be on the DVD.
I'm definitely going to buy that DVD for sure.
All right, we'll talk about PW a little later. We got to still talk about Raw. I don't know if you guys didn't know, but Joey Ryan and Big Duke from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood was on Raw. Do you guys caught him?
Where?
The part when Vince McMahon was walking backstage. Big Duke and Joey Ryan were in the background.
I saw 2 people in the background, but I could not make them out.
It was 2 guys in suits. That was Big Duke and former TNA star and current Championship Wrestling from Hollywood star Joey Ryan. They were right there.
Okay. Well,
if you had to record
I DVR'd it.
Yeah, go back, and rewind it or whatever. Look at that segment when McMahon's walking backstage, and you see him.
I know exactly. I know exactly the scene, and what's crazy, I was looking in the background, but I wasn't like looking for somebody. Yeah, I wasn't in that mode, but I couldn't tell who it was. But plus, I'm blind, so I'm not watching. So.
Hey, so does that mean Joey Ryan could be signing for the WWE pretty soon?
Well, I mean,
a couple weeks ago, Rhett Titus from Ring of Honor was on it a couple weeks ago too, and he just worked with him. I guess I don't know. I would hope so, but sometimes they just get local talent.
Also too, it's interesting because there always seems to be some crossovers from between TNA and obviously WWE. So I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that, but I don't think we ever know what's up his sleeve. That guy is like a hard-working man. Let's just put it that way.
And not only is he I agree with everything you're saying. Unlike others who have just been in the background, he is a perfect fit for that company. He could be exactly what they want from a comedian standpoint, or even a wrestling standpoint, or a character standpoint. So I agree with everything you're saying. He'd be a perfect fit too, and he's a hell of a worker.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Well, I want to still continue talking about Raw. There was reports in the weekend that the Ring of Fire match is not exactly like the Inferno match, which is going to involve pinfalls in this match. So Kane had a little segment with Bray Wyatt. They tried to do the same thing. The lights goes off. Eric Roman and Luke Harper were supposed to jump Kane in the ring, but there was no Kane in the ring. He was in the ramp. And then basically I want to explain to our audience that don't think the Ring of Fire match is going to be like the Inferno match. No one's going to get set on fire. So I want to ask you guys, what do you think of the WWE changing the concept of this Ring of Fire match? I'll start with Chris.
Me, it's just what they say was just a deterrent so they won't go out of the ring. I mean, that's all I heard. It was just like a barrier from jumping out the ring. I mean, I don't. It's been done, I guess. For me, it's been done. I just wanted to see something else. I think it's just a gimmick match. I'd rather watch Kane in the ring with Bray Wyatt and have a 10-minute match than worrying about them doing spots with the fire. I just think it's gimmicky. I'm sure it'll look great when you're in the crowd. I'm sure it'll look great while you guys are at SummerSlam. Yeah. I mean, if there's a story behind this and it leads to something, I mean, I've heard Kane's going to be out for a while. I mean, if it's going to lead to something, then I understand it. As of right now, I don't get it.
That was reported that this match is going to involve Kane. You got to get written off for a bit because he's going to set to do See No Evil too. He's going to start shooting for that.
There's your winner.
Hypergirl, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I think that the reason why they did that, I think it's because that's very recently, I mean, within the company, I think there's just been a change with what they do, just because they're keeping it extremely PG. I mean, they're not even doing blood anymore. Of course, it happens still sometimes. So I think that might be another reason why they decided to do that. Because of the whole Linda McMahon running for governor or whatever she was running for. And I think that still to this day and moving forward is kind of translating into a lot of why they do what they do,
Yeah. All right. There was a Battle Royal happened today. The concept of Battle Royal, that the winner of this Battle Royal will get a shot for the U.S. title against Dean Ambrose at the SummerSlam kickoff match. The Battle Royal ended up with two last participants was Mark Henry and RVD, which RVD won the Battle Royal. So SummerSlam kickoff match is going to start with Dean Ambrose defending the U.S. title against RVD. So this is my thoughts of this. I'm glad that they put RVD in SummerSlam, and I wish they maybe they should have started a feud between him and Dean Ambrose, but I don't like it how they just throw him in there like that. So if it's going to be a good match, I hope it will be a good match, but let's see what happens. I mean, I would like to see something continue after that, but yeah, that's all I can say about this.
The story of that was that I fought for was the Ambrose promo. It's his best promo since he's come to the WWF main roster. And the line was, unless Andre the Giant's Ghost is in that Battle Royal, I'm walking out with the U.S. title at SummerSlam. I mean, this fucking guy, like I said, there's not a 2-card in sight. He just said it as it is. I think there's someone in line saying that these guys, don't say things with emotion. He totally did, and it's gonna be interesting. I mean, I like it. CZW versus ECW. Old school. So I'm all over that match. I don't know about you. I wish I was actually going. That would be one of the reasons why I'd want to go.
Yeah. I mean, well, before I get to talk more about the Shield,
Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
Shut up. Well, mysterious Mexicans should believe in the Shield. Well, the Shield actually came out after the RVD match. Mark Henry came out to back him up, but before the Shield got in the ring, it was the return of the Big Show. I just thought of something. During that promo, did Roman Reigns say that they pretty much challenge anybody for the tag team titles, like anybody, any team against them for SummerSlam? Which it looked like it's going to be Big Show and Mark Henry against the Shield.
Yeah.
They haven't announced anything yet, but does it look like it seems like it's going that way?
Yeah, that's where they went. That's where it seems like it's going. So I don't know if they're going to officially announce it on SmackDown or how they're going to do it.
SmackDown.
I'm sure that's how they're going to do it. You'll hear about it tomorrow. But like I said, I thought the Shield came over strong today. I mean, whether that makes them win on Sunday, I don't know. I mean, hopefully something goes on. Like I said, they're back to that saying what we all want to say. They're basically saying all these old heads on the roster shouldn't be here, and they're going to get rid of them. I mean, how many internet marks say that every friggin' week? If you're going to cater to
I mean, basically they're trying to say they want to get rid of all the old guys like Big Show, Mark Henry, pretty much guys who were in the 90s. They're still in the roster. So Christian and Kane, you better watch out. Is there anything else on Raw we should address? Because basically this Raw was basically they just added 2 more matches. We know about finally the fucking CM Punk got the edge of Brock Lesnar by hitting him with a camera. And there's nothing else. You know what was disappointing? Curtis Axel is not in the card.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just one too many belts. That's just the bottom line. There's just one too many fucking belts.
Well, I don't have a problem with it, but it's like the Divas title's on the line.
But my point is, there seemed like there wasn't enough time for anything tonight. It seemed like it was very rushed at the end. If Curtis Axel was supposed to make his way down the ring or something like that, he definitely didn't. He didn't look strong at all. He came up with
and
a
the
split-second
Fandango
death.
and R-Truth thing, was that supposed to be a match, but it ended up being a little dance-off and then end up having R-Truth throwing Fandango in the ring?
That's what I mean. I mean, something had to go wrong because which was more important to get over, either the Brock Lesnar or story or Fandango dancing with R-Truth? I mean, I don't know. It was a train wreck tonight to me. It just was. It was a promo night, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hypergirl, Summer Rae is hot, okay?
She is not. Well, she's pretty. She's not hot.
She's hot. Yeah, she's hot. she has great legs. Let's put it that way.
Okay, she's got great legs, but she's not hot. Her nose bugs me.
I just want to say that to her.
I still haven't looked at her nose.
Okay, have you guys seen the movie Witches with Sarah Jessica Parker and Beth
No, wait.
Miller?
Sarah Jessica Parker looks like a witch, and she looks like a foot.
Okay, so I'm just saying Summer Rae looks like Jessica Parker. Sarah Jessica Parker.
No, come on.
No.
Toby.
She's
Toby.
SJP is pretty. She's pretty too.
Who? Sarah Jessica Parker.
She's pretty in her own way, but I'm just saying their noses are similarly close. You know, if I just looked at their noses, I would think they were related. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, come on now.
But she is a pretty girl.
I respectfully disagree.
Well, I'm just going to say Summer Rae is pretty. I'm just not going to say she's hot. I'm going to say she's pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. Well, you guys ready to talk about some PWG?
I have a quick announcement before we proceed. My quick announcement is that the Dodgers won. Yes.
Okay. Well, of course they're playing the Mets. Sorry, Chris.
Jesus Christ.
Of course they're playing the Mets, so it's not surprising. But, yeah, go Dodgers. Hyperground, I don't know if you knew it, but Chris is a Mets fan.
Oh, well, now I do.
Well, at least we're not spending zillions of dollars anymore. We're, and losing. At least we're just losing now. We're not blowing fucking cash. At least we're only doing one thing wrong.
All right, then we'll. Okay, we're gonna talk about PWG, but before we do that, let's do it. Let's take a commercial break.
Yo, welcome to WH Radio. Today's show is brought to you by the good people down at WrestlingRambles.com. For the latest in wrestling news, in-depth blog, and hot topic discussion, hit up WrestlingRambles.com. Remember, it's not just any ramble, but a Wrestling Rambles. WrestlingRambles.com. And also special thanks to Ring Rust Radio and SLTDWrestling.com. Thank you for listening.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to talk about PWG, the show we all went to on Friday. Hypergirl Toby, is Toby going to be on right now?
Yeah, he's here.
All right. So I think I should let you guys start off, Toby and Hypergirl. You guys should start off about your experience of PWG 10.
Well, my favorite part of the night was when Toby caught the buck. He caught the buck. And by that, we mean he got plowed into by, I believe it was Matt.
Well, I blame it all on Chris because Chris gave me a stupid chair for some reason and goes, here, hold this. I don't know what. You should have thrown it under the ring. So then I tried to get around on you guys.
I set you up.
Around all you guys to throw the chair under the ring, and then the next thing I know is someone goes move, and I look up, and there's a fucking young buck flying over the ring at my feet. And yeah, I pretty much caught him. So
Nick Jackson. For all you PWG fans who think you're going to go to this thing, you better look out for Nick Jackson because he's coming.
There's got to be some pictures out there of it.
Oh, I'm sure there is. I'm sure. And like I said, when that DVD comes out, you can take stills of that. You know what I mean? I could get all that, and there'll be photos. They're coming out every 10 minutes. I see names.
That's Toby's number one accomplishment in life. It's, you know.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
I never won accomplishment in life. That's pretty.
For this week.
That's pretty low.
For this week.
The best thing I've ever done in my life, I guess.
For this week. I said for this week.
All right, guys. All right, I know we talked about this at Denny's, but we should talk about it here in the show. Toby, what was the best match?
The last two. They were both good.
Yeah, they both were good, but you have to pick one.
Nothing can top Three Men is 3. So I don't know. Chris will say the latter match because he's never seen anything like that before.
Well, I've seen plenty of things like that, but that's not my favorite match at all.
Oh, really?
The fucking ladder almost landed on Chris.
I almost died. I've actually was at an ECW show, and the Dudley Boys powerbomb winning eliminators, and one of the pieces of frigging table hit me fucking in the head. I had to get stitches. I actually still have a scar.
Shit.
So that's my biggest accomplishment in life.
I think my favorite match was because of the brainbuster in the corner to Adam Cole was the guerrilla warfare match.
That was nasty.
That was sick.
That was nasty. I thought he died.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. I thought he freaking died.
Yeah, but other than that, it was the whole experience just hanging out with Chris and Skits all day and with Marisol, and just that was pretty fun. We had fun pretty much all day. Time went by pretty quick, even though we got there at like 1:30.
Nothing bad happened. Everything was perfect. It just seemed like everything was perfect. Nothing went wrong. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually shit goes down, and nothing went down. Everyone was cool in line.
Yeah.
We all had a good time. So
the match for me, I'm just gonna say it. I mean, I'm a wrestling fan. Listen, there's nothing I loved, and friggin' ladders almost hit me in the head. But I'm a little bit old school, and it reminds me. I'm not comparing the two talents, but it reminds me when ECW used to put Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero together and go at it. They did it for friggin' house shows all up and down the coast. Is the T.J. Perkins Kyle O'Reilly match? I love that it went long. It told a story, and it got heated, and it was chain wrestling. It was counter. That was my favorite. That was one of my favorite matches, period.
Yeah,
and I hope it comes across on DVD.
Yeah, Skits was saying that if you're into like just pure wrestling, like not like using weapons and all that shit, like if you're really into that shit, then you will like that match. That match was pretty awesome.
And they're like 24, 25 years old. That's what's crazy. Those were 35-year-old men who's traveled, up and down the whatever in cars. Those are kids basically, and what they put on in front of that crowd, who basically, who is very hard to impress. They did it, and T.J. Perkins is one of the best wrestlers, period, right now, and everyone says it. Ryan Taylor said it earlier. I mean, he trained so many people as well. I mean, that's what's crazy. Started wrestling when he was, 14? He's amazing, and we all know Kyle O'Reilly's great, too.
Yeah, that definitely was that was a long match. And you guys are going to hate me when I say this, but I'm more of an Impact person, so for me that match was kind of dragging on a little bit, but that's because I prefer, the opposite style of wrestling. But I will say that out of everything that happened, I was extremely impressed by that match, even though I'm not into that kind of wrestling. But just the technicality, I mean, those boys were just like, it was like, and I know this is going to sound cheesy, but the best way I can describe it was like watching a Cirque du Soleil performance. It was beautiful. Just their reaction to each other.
Fluent. It was very fluent.
Yeah. Definitely.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, because I think you said it on Denny's. You didn't like. You're not into that kind of shit.
I don't know. It's choreographed. It's choreographed holds and moves, and I'm gonna do this, and then you get me in a backslide. I'm gonna roll out of the backslide, but we're gonna still hold hands, and then we're gonna both neck bridge. And I don't know. To me, I just don't like it. I think it's boring. I'd rather see Michael Elgin do a top rope power bomb on some guy in the middle of the ring. Now that shit was fucking amazing. You guys know it.
That's why PWG is better than any promotion in the United States, because they give everybody in the crowd a little bit of something different, and they give everybody what they want.
But I mean,
a little bit of different,
But that's the kind of stuff I like. I like the, the high flying, and I mean, you got a 275-pound guy that's doing high flying. I don't even know what the hell Michael Elgin did. Did you guys see that with the power bomb? And he power bombed the guy, but he did a reverse power bomb off the top rope, and he jumped, and they went so high in the air, and he power bombed. That was unbelievable. That's the kind of shit that gets me going.
Yeah, and that's what, like I just said, that's why PWG is above the rest, and they just don't have fucking blood and guts and crazy, flying all over the fuck place. You have to change the pace. You know what I mean? You can't just fucking set the house on fire. You got to put them in their seats and have them thinking. And that's what they do so well. And you can't please everybody, but they pleased me at one point and not you, and but that's why they're the best. They give you everything. Sometimes you don't eat the peas. Sometimes you don't eat the peas at dinner.
Yeah, talking about something else, I was looking at the pictures of the ones that guy left. I actually didn't go far enough to see the Toby picture, which is kind of funny. But we were all the way on the other side of the building. But that fall that Rich Swann took on that table, oh my God.
Yeah, that was pretty heavy. That
was crazy. That was the most, wow.
Yeah, I had to say wow.
That bump and the spinning sidewalk slam that Michael Elgin did on AR Fox on the wood floor. Not the mat, not anything. That spinning little sidewalk slam. I mean, he drove him into it, and you could hear it across the room. And those two were very, plus the Adam Cole bump, but those were very loud. That side got all the action. The aisle.
Yeah, and then for our listeners, if you missed out the PWG show, you guys got to get the DVD. It was a great show. I mean, probably all the ones I went to, but this probably was the best one. And it was disappointing that I think this might be disappointing to Toby that Mysterious Mexican didn't even yell out shit in the show.
What he didn't do?
He didn't yell out like he usually do. He just sat down and just quiet. He was quiet the whole time. He wasn't even drinking that much.
He was pretty sober, wasn't he?
Yeah, he didn't drink that much, so I don't know what happened.
I love the Bo Dallas talk though. I love the Bo Dallas talk though at the end.
Oh man, this guy can't. I don't know about listeners want to hear that shit, but I can't believe he said Bo Dallas is better than Adam Cole.
Charisma-wise. Remember?
I know he's listening.
This is the best.
Who needs the call?
Ever.
Well,
ever.
You got 15 minutes. You better call right now, and you got to follow the buzzer.
By the way, for everyone listening, the great Mysterious Mexican said that Bo Dallas has the greatest charisma. Hypergirl, say it. Ever.
No, that's not what he said. He said that Bo Dallas is the best wrestler ever.
I don't know about that. I don't know if he said best wrestler ever, but he has the best. I remember he said about charisma.
He said both.
He said both.
And his boy Ryback.
Oh.
And if anyone's from Denny's, your waitresses need to speed up on the steak.
You know, hey, let's just start bagging on Mysterious Mexican until he calls in.
Oh, that's mean.
And his boy John Cena.
He's not punching the same.
I don't think he's going to call.
Well, wait a minute. Wait. Oscar, what was your favorite match?
The three-way for the world title. Adam Cole, Drake Younger, and Kevin Steen. That was my favorite one.
Another one that was great, that set the tone for the night, was the opener. I knew it was going to be great, but it was way, way beyond than I was. I knew, like I said, I knew it was going to be great, but that was just nonstop shit. I mean, the Willie back swanton over the top was great. Candace was great, and I think she really did get legit hurt for some point in there. But she worked her ass off.
Yeah.
That was a great match.
But you know what I noticed? Most of the big wrestling moves that she does, it involves Joey Ryan. I think that both of them have a really great in-ring chemistry, and they know each other like the back of their hands. Right. I don't think you'd be able to put that match on if it weren't for Joey Ryan.
Like we were saying earlier, they were trained by that Jesse Hernandez, and that guy's name just keeps popping up. So they're absolutely familiar, and like you said, the trust is definitely there. But that match just stood out. And the cockfight, or the chicken fight with London, Kendrick, Taylor, and Gargano was classic, too.
Yeah, definitely.
And then freaking Bruce gripped out Niet during the Forever Hooligans match.
Hold on. Hypergirl, I think the Mysterious Mexican is calling you right now. I think this is him. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Please,
ever in your life call me a Mysterious Mexican again.
Oh, shit, it's Skids. Oh, shit, what's up, Skids?
What's going on?
The Mysterious Skids.
What's up, Mysterious?
The Mysterious Skids. What's going on, Skids?
Mysterious
You missed out Ryan Taylor, man.
Yeah, man. I wish I could have been on the show.
Skid.
Yeah.
Breaking news, Skid. Breaking news real quick. Dodgers are favored to win the World Series 3-1.
I don't want to get my hopes high on that yet. I just don't want to think about that yet.
So where's Chris at?
Chris is here. Just don't make fun of him. I know he's a Mets fan. Just don't make fun of him.
Yeah, we beat them.
Oh yeah, we just smacked the Mets. I forgot about that.
Sorry, you'll get smacked in the National League Championship. You guys will get smacked in the National League Championship game.
So what are you guys talking about?
We're talking about PWG. Talking about
matches, guys.
Talking about Mysterious Mexican.
Let's hope next time Toby doesn't get held hostage.
That was awesome.
Oh.
I loved it. I got so much shit happen to me that night, man. I felt like I was a part of the fucking show. I should just put me on the payroll.
Yes, what was your favorite match?
TJ Perkins versus Kyle O'Reilly.
There you go. That was mine, and they picked the three-way.
Yeah, mine's with the Cole, and I guess Toby was the tag one.
I like that one. I mean, the gimmick matches were good too, but I mean, I don't know. Kyle O'Reilly is just impressing me.
And it's the second match in a row he's been on a match like that. I mean, like I said, it's on the marquee. It's wrestling.
Yeah, like Kyle O'Reilly he's got to win Bola. If he doesn't win Bola, I don't know what to say. He's on the winning streak right now.
Hasn't he beat Sammy, Davey, and TJ Perkins? Who was before Sammy?
He was I just know he was on a loser streak thing, because that's when him and Adam Cole were tag teaming with the Future Shock, and like he was kind of like helping Adam out and like winning matches and stuff. That's what I remember.
So Sammy started the streak, then went to Davey, and then now TJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
that's what I remember.
Skits. Joey Ryan appeared on Raw tonight.
Say what?
Joey Ryan appeared on Raw tonight.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he was in the background though. McMahon was walking backstage. In the background, those Big Duke from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. He was right next to Joey Ryan. They were like looking at McMahon pretty much, and that was it. They're just in the background.
Remember skits when Rhett Titus did it a few weeks ago with the suit?
Yeah.
The background. It's the same situation.
Something like that, yeah.
Guys, hopefully for Joey, it's more.
Do you think all three guys that we just mentioned are future stars with the company?
All three, no. All three, no.
I don't know about Big Duke, but if Ryan I think Ryan has the best chance in those three. Yeah.
I think Ryan has the best chance of being a star out of who's in the WWE. I think he would work. I think, but if he tries to do what he does, if he tries to do what he does in PWG and what TNA failed, oil himself up and being a womanizer, shit, he'd work.
Another thing, Joey was already over in the company without even being signed to the company. When they had the whole storyline going on at TNA, he had the 87% signs, at Raw,
Yeah.
And newsflash, here's a newsflash, you guys know this. The guy has ties to Southern California, and what area of the country is hotter than Southern California? And he could help get guys to come, for dark matches and tryouts, and, easier than, he could be a go-between.
Or maybe one of our guests, Ryan Taylor, could. Or I guess Ryan Taylor might come down one day.
I'm sure it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I see that he followed us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was looking at my phone. It said Ryan Taylor's following you. I'm like, oh.
And also saw on our Instagram we got 50 followers now. Hope we get more followers on Instagram. Yeah. Also wanted to, I don't know if you guys care, but today WWE announced that Hulk Hogan, the Hulk Hogan you all remember, the yellow tights, and Hollywood Hulk Hogan's confirmed for the next WWE video game. They also confirmed the Undertaker's current look, the American Badass look, and Andre the Giant's confirmed for the game. I want to know what you guys thought of that so far.
I'm waiting for it to come on PS4, so I'm going to wait till then.
I'm actually looking forward to it because it's got different modes, like all the WrestleManias. You can use Hollywood Hogan. That's got to be everybody's favorite Hogan. I fucking love Hollywood Hogan.
Just as long as the servers work better. Just as long as the servers stay connected better than last year's game, because that was horseshit.
Breaking news. Chris, Mysterious Mexican posted a picture of you on Twitter.
What is it?
It's a picture of you with the title.
Oh, I got to see that. You mean the title I'm going to win this Sunday?
Title that's at my house. The title that's at my house in my room.
Well, guess what? It's gonna be my new avatar at about 11 p.m. Eastern time. That belt right over my crotch. That belt right over my crotch.
No. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna do a prediction on Wednesday. So all I'm gonna say is Staples in my backyard. Skis just works there. So, but Staples is really my backyard, and I'm taking
Hold on, son. That's really my backyard, because you know why? Because I can walk anywhere in that place and probably get down to the bottom, and you would be still sitting in the 200s.
And you never been backstage.
I was just there. I was just there, and I negotiated with Magic, and he let me into a skybox, so I'm gonna get this one.
Well, I gotta say to Skits, you never were backstage with the Lakers or in WWE roster. You were never backstage there.
Oh, I'll tell you a story of this. I'll tell you this story.
Wait. Okay, we're waiting for the story.
Once I was in the back stage at work at Staples, and it was a SmackDown taping, and I guess the producers were like, quiet in the hallway. It's an action, and Edge and Chris Jericho were both shooting a promo that they fucked up during SmackDown. They had to redo it.
Well, it happens. SmackDown is taping. There's one question I want to ask about.
Where's Toby and Abigail? They just got quiet.
I know they're quiet. Hyper Girl.
Yes.
Why are you quiet?
I'm just listening to you guys talk. You guys are having an interesting conversation.
Well, I want to explain. This is going to be something interesting right now. Okay, on that WrestleMania game, or is it the Knicks game, on that WrestleMania mode, when it gets to WrestleMania 20, are they going to bring up the Chris Benoit thing? I know for sure they're not going to do it, but what else they could put? What, Brock Lesnar and Goldberg?
You mean him choking out his wife?
I wouldn't be surprised if they throw Goldberg on the game. They're going to throw a lot of people that we won't expect on the game.
Well,
Andre the Giant's on the game.
Yeah, Goldberg actually teased last week that he's going to be in the game. He teased it. So I would not be surprised if Goldberg wouldn't end up being in the game. All right. Well,
the game will be 10 times better if the servers are better at the download shit. So that's all I care
Get
about.
Xbox, Chris.
No, it sucks. PS4. PS4. I already pre-ordered.
Get
PS4.
Xbox One. Xbox One.
Good luck. Good luck with that. Good luck with the red ring.
Good luck with the yellow.
Listen, I have the original PS3 from the first day it opened, and that motherfucker still works. And I have So
I never had a red ring with.
You will.
I've had one for a long time, since 2008.
You will. When it does.
All right, guys.
Call me up.
All right, guys. We ran out of time, so I don't know if you guys want to give out your Twitters.
Sure, I'll start off with mine. Mine says hyper_girl84, and then Toby is Toby for Wrestling.
Chris?
I'll go. ROH code, and my new one is the Mysterious Mexican's #1 fan. That's my new one. Bo Dallas, charisma, baby.
Is that real, Chris?
Yes, absolutely. Go look at it right now. But first, go look at ROH code.
And what is Mysterious Mexican's Twitter?
Who?
Mysterious Mexican,
what?
I think.
I forget what
No,
it is.
I think his Twitter is Psycho Mexican, something like that. Psycho Mexican.
You can follow me at WH Skits. Yeah. Follow WrestlingHeads too.
Yeah, you can follow me at Sinister632. Same thing with Instagram. Same name, Sinister632. Follow WrestlingHeads. Follow WrestlingHeads on Instagram.
Don't forget, follow Toby too. Toby #4 Wrestling. Follow Toby also.
Follow
BK Carp.
And follow Ryan Taylor too. Thanks, Ryan Taylor.
Yeah, shout out to Ryan Taylor.
Yeah, we'll be back on Wednesday, probably with a topic, and we're gonna do.
You know what? Real quick, I have the topic right now. Our top 10 SummerSlam matches.
Yes, we should do that.
For Wednesday?
SummerSlam. Yeah, for Wednesday, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we should do that for Wednesday because SummerSlam is this Sunday, and me and Skits will be at the Access. And also, Saturday, Wrestling Cares is Saturday. If you go to Access and you plan to attend Wrestling Cares, it will be 50% off. So, Wrestling
Real
Cares,
quick,
I believe, yeah.
I might as well announce this too. We're going to plan on doing a pre-show for SummerSlam. So maybe early in the day before SummerSlam, before we go to SummerSlam, we'll do a show.
Awesome.
Basically, for like a countdown.
All right, then. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to go. That's me, Oscar, Skits, Toby, Hyper Girl, Chris. We out.
Deuces.